is the UK government spending a fortune on King Charles's coronation when millions of its people can't afford food? Charles is being crowned King of the UK and 14 other countries on May 6. He and Camilla will be decked out in jewels taken from former colonies and ride in 2 golden carriages. The whole thing is expected to cost between $60 to $120 million. That's on top of the $106 million the royals get in taxpayer money every year, and the over $400 million it's going to cost to put Charles's face on stamps and coins. Meanwhile, over 14 million people in the UK can't afford to eat every day, according to the Food Foundation. The UK is facing its worst inflation crisis in 4 decades. Food prices went up a record 17.5% last year. 25% of London is in poverty, with millions unable to afford basics like food, disproportionately black and brown people. Public workers like teachers and nurses have gone on strike to protest salaries that aren't keeping pace with inflation. Because the government refuses to pay them enough, some teachers have seen salaries drop as much as 13% since 2010. Some now rely on food banks to eat, and there are even warm banks because many can't afford to heat their own homes. And the number of children in food poverty has doubled in a year to 4 million. Charles claims he scaled down the coronation to reflect the cost of living crisis. He and Camilla will wear thousands of jewels, including the Cullinan diamond, which was taken from South Africa by British colonizers. Charles controls an estate worth an estimated $19 billion. That includes a personal fortune estimated at $500 million he inherited from his mother tax-free. But his true wealth isn't fully known. Queen Elizabeth II used tax havens and allegedly lobbied the government to make sure royal finances were kept secret. Charles and his family currently make tens of millions of dollars a year from their Lancaster and Cornwall estates, which together are bigger than the city of Chicago. Despite his vast, untaxed wealth, taxpayers are footing the bill for his coronation.
Go to the London Schools and Black Child Conference that Diane Abbott used to run in London. It was a major event, and one of the statistics that came out from that event was a statistic that surprised me at the time, but I don't know why, but it just did. And some research has been done. National research has been done in the UK, and the research showed that at age 5, when black children entered the schooling system at age 5 and were tested, they were on the highest scale of all the kids that were tested in terms of where they were educationally, knowledge, everything, at age 5. What I can tell you now is that the recent research shows that if we now look at the end of secondary school at age 16, we are somewhere hovering near the bottom. And the reason why I think that's really important is because sometimes when we read and we hear things about our community, you might hear things like single parent households. You might hear, oh, the father's not about. You might hear that the parents are involved in crime. My question will be, if that is the case, how comes at age 5 they are doing so well? Something is happening in the schools, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Do you agree?
Yes.
Something is happening in our schools. So We had this the event at Reading Borough Council a couple of months ago. We're having this, and what I'm hoping to do, I'm hoping to pull some information from this event, and then have another one at the Reading Council, probably Black History Month, because we're allowed to have events free then. So I hope to do another big event at Reading Borough Council, and it's not funny, it's true. Like Black History is just 1 month. Anyway, so what I want to say is this. We had emailed every school in Berkshire. We had one deputy head teacher from Thatcham that came to our last meeting. And if you look at Equality Mastermind's website, you'll see that she spoke about her experience. It was a very positive experience. She was really glad she came, and she's contacted us.
Well, there's been a lot of points since I last spoke.
Did you see that look?
Rios isn't even here to answer his question. I was going to say, so I teach in early years, and I spend the first half term of every academic year getting to know the children. There's no English, there's no maths, I literally identify with the children. I mentioned when I was passed on the panel, they all call me auntie. Every black child in the school, I'm auntie Faulkner to them. And they haven't even spoken to me before. And if they get in trouble, sometimes they ask to speak to auntie. So I have a year 6 sat with my nursery class because they just want some time with someone that's familiar, and that's okay. What Rios was saying, I think it's so important to focus on the interests of children. A lot of the black children that come into my class at 4 years old are so bright, as well as others, but they're incredible. A lot of the black boys, from my experience, are quite nervous, actually. It takes me a while to break them in a bit to know they can be themselves. A recent example, a child, they said he can't do maths, he can't do this, and I thought, yes he can, and they said he can't. And I took my iPad to our one-to-one time, and he could tell me the properties of a pentagon, a heptagon, an octagon. He can tell me why it is, he can count the sides without repeating. He's incredible, but he's not comfortable to do it with those teachers. It's about that familiarity, just having people that look like them. It's really sad. And also admitting when you're wrong. There was an incident today when, I don't know if you saw the wind, but my wig was going to fly off one. I was outside in the garden and I was like, there's this child and he always boots the ball over the fence every single day, right? So I went inside to touch up my wig and I come outside and the ball's over the fence. And I said, what happened? He said, the wind did it. I said, no it didn't. He said, yes it did. 2 Tuesdays now, the teacher came and said, Miss Faulkner, it was the wind. I had to admit, I apologised the whole day because I honestly thought he had just done it again. But I had to admit to myself and to him I was wrong. And I shared with the whole class that afternoon, I made a mistake today. Oh. And that's just, But it's okay to make mistakes. It's fine.
Did you get the ball back?
Yeah. We've had a few letters from that neighbour, but we won't go into that. But it's okay to make mistakes, don't think you're wrong, and just affirmations all the way. I always say to them before the end of the day, make sure you believe in yourself, you can do anything you put your mind to, and don't let anyone tell you different. And I say, as long as I'm here, you're safe, and it's just little things like that. It really embeds in a child's mind from a young age, and I don't think it continues the higher they go, and that it really upsets me because secondary school wasn't easy for me either, probably with many of you. I don't think it, so that's
Brilliant.
So we know there's a disparity, and actually Black Caribbean boys are the ones that come out with the lowest educational attainment, and that is a gap that we're trying to address. Some of the problems are the curriculum is not diverse enough, and it's actually racist in some incidences, so we're trying to make sure the curriculum's actively anti-racist. We need to make sure we address the biases that the teachers have. and that they understand black history and our place in this society. We need to work on having a network for people of colour, for teachers. I think in Reading we've got about 3% teachers that are people of colour, so that means our children cannot see faces that look like them, because we've got about nearly 46%, 48% children of colour in the school community. We have a problem with when we have that dialogue like school and home is a war. And I say that because I've come as a black person who've experienced racism, and my parents have experienced racism, and my children have experienced racism. I also come as a teacher who's trying to make changes in the system that we've got. And we can only do that with parents and community members that work with us. One of the things that is really important, and we do not have enough of, we don't have enough governors that are minority. If you're not at the table making the decisions, you cannot influence what our children will experience. So that's the first thing I will urge all of you in this room. If you have the time, it's a big commitment, go on one of the local school governing bodies, because they need people of colour. We need to hear more of the young people's voices, so that they know that there is people that are advocating for them, and we are doing work to try and address the problems that they're experiencing. So I will leave my contact details over there. So if anybody is at a school and they think their school can benefit from some anti-racist work, or we're going to be rolling out workshops for the children, you'll be able to get in contact with us. I really can't impress. It is a problem. Reading Borough Council, Brighter Futures, are aware of it, and they are working to address it. And my colleague and I will be happy to come to the next speech and tell you a bit more about the work we've done and the impact that that's had.
Thank you. Isn't it comforting to know that we have some decent folk that are around that we didn't know about? Okay, last.
Where a teacher told me that I wasn't mixed race and I wasn't from Africa, but she met my mum. They know each other, but she still would say, "No, you're Irish," and that was the end of that.
Wow.
And that's part of the school system being broken, like I touched on before. And with Rios, what I was going to say is that what I'm learning is things are being documented, but the system is so broken that people are inexperienced, or those that are experienced are experiencing the wrong way. They still have those old prejudices about them, and those that are new coming in are inexperienced and they don't have the correct training or the correct support sometimes to help them. Quick one is my eldest, who's 6 years old. She went into school and she's a very good reader, and she went in on the set 6, on the primary school stuff. And for some reason, for no parents, she came home and she had a much easier book. And I was like, well, she's gone through this really quickly and easily. What's this about? And they keep it for a whole week. She's bored of this by that point. So I've gone in. Because I'm a parent governor and I know them all by first name, I've gone over and said, what's this about? We find out what's going on with this. The head took it straight to the teacher and she was moved up 2 sets the next day. And same thing.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can.
Jamaica passenger train.
So alright guys, I'm gonna do a vlog of the passenger train in Jamaica today. You know, so the other day I did a vlog of the backside train. So today we're gonna do a vlog of the passenger train in Jamaica. So the passenger train, you can take the passenger train from Spain.
Yes!